Minnesota is preparing for an invasive beetle moving eastward across North America. The Minnesota DNR says the mountain pine beetle population is exploding in Alberta, Canada because of warmer summers, and it's headed our way. And as the DNR tells our Scott Sheehan, Minnesotans can help prevent the mountain pine beetles from coming here.
Protecting Minnesota's pine tree forest, the Department of Agriculture and Minnesota's Department of Natural Resources are teaming up to help prevent an invasive beetle from killing Minnesota's pine trees.
Mountain pine beetles are a pest out west in the pine forests in the mountains, and they're native to out there. And with changing weather out there, they've started to go into outbreak mode more so than ever.
Albert says the beetles move about 80 miles a year, and they're expanding their range northward through Alberta, Canada, and eastward towards us.
We have bark beetles in Minnesota, and we have them in our pine all the time, but it's very small, low endemic populations, and they only pick on the sick trees, where these ones are in outbreak mode out there, and they can attack perfectly healthy trees.
Here's an example of a preventative measure by the Crow Wing County Land Services Department. They came in and chopped down some of the sickly trees that were infested by insects, and they replanted new ones to preserve the health of the forest.
What we do to try and limit the spread of any sort of exotic pests or invasive species is we try to have healthy, resilient forests, which means we actively manage them to remove any suppressed trees. So we'll plant different species, so we have a variety of species in the environment so that no one thing can take out the entire forest, and we have an active, thriving forest.
Albert says Minnesota is planning on banning wood with bark from coming to Minnesota to help lessen the spread of the mountain pine beetle.
Where is the best place to buy firewood? It would be locally. Use it locally and burn it all up if you can. If you can't, you can leave it there or give it back. Nobody wants the pests from the east to go west or the west to go east.
The Department of Agriculture says Minnesota is researching other measures to help prevent the spread of the mountain pine beetle from coming to Minnesota. Scott Sheehan, Lakeland News.
The DNR says the mountain pine beetles usually can't survive minus 40-degree temperatures, but Minnesota rarely sees those cold temperatures anymore.
If you've enjoyed this segment of Lakeland News, please consider making a tax-deductible contribution to Lakeland Public Television.